Today, what we want to do is we want to share like a different perspective when it comes to success because there's so many different ways to define it. We can talk about becoming a successful athlete and becoming a professional player, or having a nice family and living a simple life. But
Mhm.
there's so many ways of defining success. I think we want to talk about how we should view success, at least in our opinion.
What is the definition of success? Well, if we look in the dictionary, it says the true definition of success is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose.
Hmm.
So I go back and I look at what my parents back, in the 1950s thought of success, 50s and 60s. And I think their idea of success was you get married, you have a family, you live in a nice home, and you just do family things. And mom stays at home and dad goes to work. Okay. That back then, I think was they were happy with that. And you stay in the same job almost your entire life. You get a pension. You retire at 60 and you live the rest of your life doing whatever the hell you want to do. Now, let's see. Let's look at me. That was a generation before me. That was my dad, my kid's grandpa. Let's look at me. My definition of success when I was growing up was graduate from college, get married, have kids, make contributions to the world, and live in a beautiful home, drive a decent car, and live my life, raising my family, and then retire at 65, which probably won't happen, and live a life that you love and stay healthy. Okay, that was my definition of success. Very
Hmm.
similar still. All right, now what about you, Rayhan?
I think the way society has evolved, the world has become a lot more competitive, right? There's a lot more that is going on and things are happening a lot quicker. You have, teenagers now who are becoming millionaires really quickly because they have access to tools and resources and technology ultimately that is allowing a lot of progress in this world. And I think now for younger people, success there's a divide when it comes to success. There's a group of people I think who want to have that lavish life of luxury and fame, crazy cars and all of that stuff. And then there's another group maybe I think that just wants to live a simple life, or just they want to do what they want to do and they want to live their life the way that they want to live. And I mean, you see it nowadays, especially like with a lot of teenagers, there's a huge importance when it comes to social media, for example, right? Like the status that you have, the amount of likes that you get on a post, or the amount of followers that you have. And it's kind of like cliche when you see all of those like teenage drama movies and whatever, where they're always talking about that stuff.
Yep.
And but in some way it is true. I know that growing up as a teenager personally, if I would post something on social media, I mean, I would be looking at my phone, when waiting for people to like it or to comment or to say something.
Right.
When I get new followers, I'd be so happy. I'd be like, "Oh, this is cool. Oh, this person followed me." And all of that stuff mattered and maybe still does, but that's the new sort of world that we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think today what we want to do is we want to share like a different perspective when it comes to success because there's so many different ways to define it. You know, we can talk about becoming a successful athlete, right? And becoming a professional player, or a successful just family person, just having a nice family and living a simple life. But
Mm-hmm.
there's so many ways of defining success. I think we want to talk about um, how we should view success, at least in our opinion.
Our humble opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think, I worry about young people who are so focused on that grand prize of being famous or
Mhm.
getting attention or just wanting all those material things, because those don't last, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember hearing, I think it was Robin Williams or someone who said that, if, oh no, it was Bill Murray. And he said, if the thing you want is to be famous, don't do it, because
Yeah.
it's the worst, right? I mean, think of Taylor Swift right now. She can't go
Mhm.
anywhere or do anything. Nothing. Her whole life is hidden, has to be hidden, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not all it's cracked up to be. And then influencers, who some are getting, like, suddenly they're just getting famous by some weird fluke that happened
Mhm.
on social media or whatever, and they don't know how to handle their fame, and then they start to spiral. And I mean, it's just a different world today,
Yeah.
and I worry about kids who get caught up in that stuff,
Mhm.
because the shiny objects, they're only fun for a little while, and then that goes away, and then it's not enough, it doesn't fill them up. So
Yeah.
what 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 should we be teaching our kids about what success really is?
I mean, I think first off, like success is an individual thing. My definition of success is going to be different from your definition of success, right?
Hmm.
And that means that when I am looking at these other influencers or people who I follow, I don't always need to be comparing myself to them and wanting to be like them. I think understanding that I am different and I am who I am is like the most important thing. So that's number one. And then moving on from there, it's like, okay, I have a strong idea of what I want to do in this world, right? I have my own goals, I have my own passions, I have my own desires when it comes to the things that I want to do, whether that's, with work, whether that's with my family and all that stuff. In fact, I literally have a vision board that I did when I was 16 years old. It's still up here and it's the same mission, it's the same thing. Um, but I was able to create that at a young age because I knew kind of what I wanted. And it wasn't because I was looking at someone else, I want to live that life. This was
Hmm.
something that I wanted for myself,
Yeah.
right? So I think understanding that success is you get to define your success. And it's
Hmm.
not because, Taylor Swift has billions of people listening to her every single day. Or, Justin Bieber became famous when he was 15 years old and now is living the successful career, you could say. Doesn't mean because they
Oh, he
did
had to
it.
go downhill before that happened, though.
And that's the
It
thing.
was
It's like it
terrible to
doesn't mean,
watch.
yeah, and it doesn't mean that because they did it that you should want to do the same thing. Maybe you are truly passionate about, music and you want to be a singer and everything. And if that is the case, then go for it, obviously. But just doing it to become famous or to become successful and have money and all that stuff, maybe not. It's maybe better to do something that you're passionate about, something that you love doing. Because I
Hmm.
personally think that that's what success is, doing what you love doing and being able to do that every day. Sounds like a pretty successful life to me.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, we do have to make a living and things like that. Our kids right now, I think that just having conversations about what is it that you really want. I mean, really ask them, have that conversation. Maybe talk about what it is you wanted growing up and what you want now. And, um, just like make it fun. Say, what
Yeah.
is it you dream of? What is it that you want? What's important to you?
Mm-hmm.
And then say, and ask them that question. What's your definition of success? Find out what they're thinking,
Yeah.
because you might be surprised.
Oh
It
yeah.
might shock you, or it
Mm-hmm.
might make you really proud. I don't know, but it's definitely worth, as a parent, to ask that question of your teen
Yeah.
and see what they say, because they
Mm-hmm.
might be going down a track that's not going to lead to success. They might be going down a track that could hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then that's where you want a guide and say, go after your passions. I believe in you, and things like that. Build them up and guide them gently, not in a mean way or manipulative way, but just say, okay, if you were to get this,
Yeah.
what do you envision your life is going to be when you get this? And is that true?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that true? If they're going off on the wrong, sort of in the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
And going back to like what you were saying in the beginning, right? Your parents' definition of success was different from yours.
Mhm.
And it's also, I guess, different from mine as well because times have changed, right? So also
Yeah.
understanding that your teen's definition of success, what they want for themselves, might be and most likely will be different from what you might want for them just because
Mhm.
times have changed. I mean, I know for a fact, like I remember my ex-girlfriend's brother, he was like obsessed with video games and streaming and all that stuff. And when he would say to his mom that he wanted to, go into that as a profession, it was overlooked like completely. It was like, no, it's not even a career, it doesn't exist, and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, I mean, in today's world, there are people who are making a living by doing just that,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So the perception now has to change because the world is changing,
Mhm.
right? And one more thing that I want to add is yes, there's like, being successful financially and all that stuff and being ambitious, and that's all great. But there are also some people in this world who just want simplicity, and your teen might be one of them. I have a friend, one of my best friends who lives in France. He lives the simplest, like honestly, the simplest life. It is crazy to me. He works a minimum wage job. He works that job. It's at a grocery store. He does his work and then he comes home and then he goes and he'll like play sports and just live a simple life. Like he doesn't want to necessarily like become a millionaire or anything like that. He just wants to live
Yeah.
simply and he's happy. Like he's honestly, he gets his fulfillment from that.
Mhm.
Which is why like what I don't ever tell him, "Oh, you should do this, you should try it," because he doesn't want to. Like that he is very, very happy living the life that he is living.
Yeah.
So again, everyone is different, right? Your teen has to choose the path that they want to take and therefore choose the success and their definition of success that they want to give
Mhm.
ultimately, right?
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
think, like I said, it starts with a discussion
Mm.
because I I think it's a really cool discussion to have, actually. I think you're really going to gain a lot of insight into your teen. Now, let's say your teen is a prodigy, and they're like an amazing piano player, and that's you can
Yeah.
see their path and what their success is there. But most
Yeah.
most are not like that, and so what is it that makes them happy, and point them in that direction instead
Mm-hmm.
of what makes somebody else happy or what they see. Oh, I want that. But they don't
Yeah.
know what that is really. They just see the surface picture of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What is it going to make you happy? That's the most important thing. Hands
Yeah.
down.
Hands
What's going to
down.
give you joy? Where are you going to feel peace? You know? I
Yeah.
think before we did too many things of pushing our kids into maybe careers that they didn't want, but they knew they'd be successful if they were in that career, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so
And I'm gonna say something. I don't know how it's gonna be perceived because it's from my point of view as a younger person, but and maybe this might come across actually as entitled, but parents in many cases have, laid the groundwork and the foundation for their kids, which
mhm,
has also opened up the possibility for their kids to now pursue their passions and take more risks, right? Um, I know for me personally, for example, my parents, they took, I guess, quote unquote traditional paths, like they went to university and stuff like that. My mom, for example, she's a teacher, right? My dad, even though he has like a degree in engineering and stuff, now he's an entrepreneur, but they took those routes that had a lot of certainty to them.
mm,
Whereas for me, right, after high school, I decided not to go to school and I decided to pursue more of an entrepreneurial route where I wanted to create a business, I wanted to do what I'm doing right now, for example, and follow this path because that's what I was passionate about. And I
mhm,
also took the soccer route as well, which is also very untraditional. It's a big risk, but
yeah,
I was given the possibility to do that. And I almost feel like if you have, as a parent, laid that groundwork for your teen to be able to look further than just the traditional route, that being said, like, college and university, just because it's safer, then why not? Why not let them explore that and accompany them on that journey? Because ultimately, I feel like that's what's going to give them the most amount of fulfillment, I think,
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
they're doing something that they love. But on the flip side, I also understand, like, as parents, them taking that risk is scary because you don't know how it's going to end up. So you kind of sometimes feel like you want to push them through the safer way because there's more certainty on that end. So I understand that, but you know, I don't know. That's what was going through my mind at least.
Yeah, I mean, I could even look at my three kids who are now young adults, right? My youngest is just turned 25 and my oldest is 33. My middleman is 27. And my oldest, he totally traditional route, totally like straight into college, graduated in 4 years, had a job, corporate job before he even got out of college. He's been with that same company for 10 years now. He's finally now starting to want to leave,
Mm.
feeling like he needs to push a little bit. Whereas my middle guy, he graduated from college, took him a little longer. Um, and he worked in a restaurant for a while and then he traveled. He took off and traveled for 2.5 months. And now he's trying to just figure it out. He's not sure what to do. It's like, this. And then my daughter, she graduated from college a little late as well. COVID had a lot to do with that, but um and she went totally different. She's working in the dog world and she did some traveling and she's like, I don't know what I want to do. I just know I love dogs. I know I love the mountains. I know I love to be outdoors. And so she doesn't care about a lot of money. She just wants to have that life where she can just have fun with her dogs and be outside. And that
Yeah.
makes her happy. And so they're all three different routes, different ideas. They're totally different people. And we need to be okay with that.
Hmm.
You know, they're going to
Yeah.
be okay if
Yeah.
we support them and encourage them to say, yes, you can do it. I believe in you, you know?
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, is to have that support, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about how success is like, we make our own definition when it comes to success, but there's also a huge importance that we have to put towards the journey and the
Mm,
actual doing of things, right?
yeah.
You know, the definition that you read in the beginning of success was about accomplishing your purpose or your mission, right? Or your goal. But there's also success, in my opinion, in the journey, in the progress, in the
Yeah.
little wins, in the growth, right? Because that's about becoming a better version of yourself. It's about improving who you are. And I was telling you this earlier, but today I posted a reel and I said something along the lines of, what you do doesn't matter, but who
Mm-hmm.
you are and who you become,
Mm-hmm.
that's what matters,
Yeah.
right? Because, and there's a quote I think that goes along the lines of, people won't remember you for what you've done, but they'll remember you for how you made them feel.
Right. Exactly.
That comes from who you are. It doesn't come
That's
from,
right. Yep.
what you do in life and your career and everything. So that's also another way to define success, and a way to flip the script completely, where you can actually be successful today if you just show up as the best version of yourself and show up in an authentic way, right?
Exactly. I learned this so much too. Like, well, even now with us doing this podcast, right? Right
Hmm.
now, they wouldn't consider us a success because we don't have a zillion subscribers and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But we're doing this to serve
Hmm.
and we are enjoying the journey,
Yeah.
whether we don't get a zillion followers or whatever they call subscribers, people listening to us, some will. And that's enough. Is that if
Yeah.
we have brought value to people, then that's what makes us happy. Because and as we're doing this, we enjoy this time to sit here and talk about this stuff. We enjoy helping you.
Yeah.
It's the journey. And if you don't enjoy the journey, that's most of your life.
Yeah.
The success usually only lasts like you get there. I have a friend and she was very successful she had her own finance company, insurance or something. But she was a go-getter. And I remember her saying, yeah, when I get to 250,000 a year in income, I'm set. That's it. I'm going to be done. Well, she makes it to 250 and she tells me, no, not enough. Not enough.
Yeah.
It didn't change it. It didn't complete her.
Mhm.
She's like, no, but she enjoyed the journey to get there.
Yeah.
Right? She was having fun along the way. She loves what she did. She loved talking to people and selling and all that stuff. So there is not necessarily a success at the outcome. The success for a good life, I'd say the success needs to be in loving the journey along the way.
Yeah. I love that.
And I think we need to support our kiddos with that mindset,
Yeah.
because getting to the final outcome is not necessarily always that great.
Mhm.
We build it up to be this huge thing.
Yeah.
It's not always like what we imagined. And so if we're not loving the journey along the way, then we've wasted all that time of our life fighting for something that didn't do it,
Yeah.
or
It's
did
true.
it or did it for this little bit of time. And then you're like, what now?
Yeah.
You hear that from people who money has been like their biggest goal or whatever, you know? So
Mhm. Yeah. It's so funny because I was just mentioning to you, I today all of a sudden before we started recording this podcast, I had this little like epiphany moment. I just told Susan, I was like, it's crazy like that we're actually doing this. You know, like this is episode 37, if I'm not mistaken. We started this, well, we started actually working on this like close to about a year ago, and we just made it happen and we've created this, and it's just like just thinking about that on its own, like it makes me happy
yep.
because we're still here. We're still doing it. We've committed to it and we're enjoying it so much.
Mhm. Yeah,
And yeah, I think it's so cool. I really do.
I know. Me
Yeah.
too. Who would think that a 21-year-old and a would connect so well and have so much fun talking?
One day you're gonna have to mention your age on this podcast. It'll be like a big reveal for the 100th episode. You heard it here first. 100th episode, Susan will mention how old she is. I'm just joking. But yeah, no, it is. It's amazing. It is.
Okay, well, that's all we've got for today. I hope you got some value out of it. And yeah, just love on your kids and support them in everything that they want to do. I think that's the most important thing you could do as a parent. Just believe in them and let them know that often.
Yeah,
Just believe in them and they'll
yeah,
be good.
yeah, yeah. Alrighty. Well, take care, everyone. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and do all that stuff. Ask us questions if you want. You can even reach out to us. You can email Susan, DM me. All of the information will be in the description. You can also check out Susan's 5 tips, 5 parenting tips. It's going to be in the description as well. So you can check that out. And yeah, take care. We'll see you all next week. Bye bye.